Hi, this is Tutor Nick P, and this is noun phrase 214. The noun phrase today is fancy pants. Okay, let's take a look at the board here. Okay, if somebody wants a screenshot. All right, let's get right into it. Fancy pants can be used both as an adjective phrase and a noun phrase. Yeah, so really I listed it as a noun phrase here, but I'm also going to be covering the adjective phrase of it in this article too. Or in this video as well. So let's continue. If someone refers to something as fancy pants, it is intended to attract attention and impress others, impress other people, especially something that is high class. Usually one is trying to stress that something is overly fashionable. Yeah, it is too fashionable. This phrase is often used to express that somebody is annoyed by this. They're not that happy. So usually if we're saying fancy pants, in this case, it's usually not a compliment. Could you compliment somebody and say that your pants are fancy? Yes, you could do that. But if you're saying fancy pants, it sounds like you're more annoyed. Although sometimes it's also used in humor, to be funny as well. So let's continue here. As a noun, it is usually used in a humorous manner, humorous way. That someone is dressed too fancy or acts in a fancy manner. It could also be used to show annoyance with someone of the social elite, and maybe you just don't like the people of the social elite. Could be used that way too. Let's continue. The origin of this term dates back to 1843. It was used by a company called Williams and Prince. Sounds kind of like a high-class company. It was a company of auctioneers that advertised the sale of fancy pants. So originally it was meant in its normal way, that fancy means, like a fashionable and expensive or something like that. Fancy pants, cashmere. All right, here's something else to note here. This is also like a British spelling of cashmere. Americans spell it more like this, Cashmere. But this spelling is a British spelling. So this is why you might see two spellings in this video. It was selling clothes made of cashmere that were supposed to be fancy. Okay, the first citation of it being used to mean overly fashionable or swanky, also is another word meaning that something is, like highly fashionable in a very kind of showy way, was in 1870. It appeared in the Pennsylvania newspaper, the Titusville Morning Herald. Right? Here is the quote. Just opened, meaning they just started, just opened. Still another lot of imported diagonal and basket coatings of fancy pants cashmere. All right, they say a lot. Remember, they were an auctioneer company. They sold. Usually things are sold in lots. A lot might have a group of things together that people are bidding on. So that's probably what they mean here by another lot. So maybe you're buying 30 of them at one time. Okay, so maybe a store is going to buy them to, maybe sell them retail or something. All right, let's continue. And we have 4 examples to show exactly how we would use it today. Here's the first one. Let's just go to a regular restaurant. Don't pick one of those fancy pants 4 or 5-star restaurants that is going to cost a fortune. So somebody doesn't want to pay a lot. Maybe they feel it's unnecessary to pay so much money just for a dinner. Number 2, look at fancy pants. So sometimes you refer to the person as a fancy pants. So here's definitely a noun. Look at fancy pants over there, all decked out. So dressed in in high class clothes or in a fancy way, all decked out in a tuxedo. He probably thinks he is better than us. So, again, somebody is slightly annoyed. That's the way it's often kind of used. All right, number 3 here. Hey, fancy pants. Now, this one might be a joke, too, because maybe it's one of your friends. Maybe he misunderstood, and he dressed too high class for the party. So, you might be joking if you're talking to him directly. Hey, fancy pants. Why did you wear a high-class suit? Didn't you know it was a casual party? Like, so you might be saying that to your friend if they kind of overdressed for something. So that one is probably used more in the humorous way. And the last one here. He brought his fancy pants lawyer, okay, to intimidate us, to try to scare us. So that's the way we might say it in that sort of sense. Okay. Anyway, I hope you got it. I hope it's clear. I hope it's informative. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.